Hello, hello. Yeah. Uh, it's a lifestyle. I know it's not as fancy as my old mother home, but I can't seem to. Oh, you can't hear me. Can Is it just Tina? Yeah, you guys can hear me? Okay, so it's just Tina. Did it happen last time too? Yeah, it's only you. Everyone else seems to thumbs up again if you guys can hear me. Sorry for being boring, but like, Milena, can you hear me? Thumb up? Yeah, okay. So it's just Tina. Give it another minute. How's everyone? Day, night, morning, wherever you are. Doing good. Making dinner, Ananda. What's for dinner?
I have baked pumpkin and baked sweet potatoes, and I'm preparing some lentils, mushrooms, and veggie burger. A
That's
lot for
right,
a week.
vegan style.
Yep.
Awesome. Gonna give it another couple of minutes. I just finished training. Um, but I'm trying to have a routine, and I realized that my calls and my other routine goes against all other routines that normal people have. So it's good because the training did finish on the right time, but it's half an hour away from my studio, so I couldn't drive all the way back in order to be in the studio. But it's good to be out of the studio because I've been in there all day. Um, but yeah, I had the event. I survived it, even though I was so sick, and I'm still not even fully recovered, but it is the bigger event of the year of my mentor. And it meant really a lot for me to go, not just because not just because it's the biggest event. It's the biggest event for him because it's the biggest event where he gets his leads to come and attend. So I officially signed up at this event last year. The event was so good that I was at the table screaming, "Take my money," before I even knew how much his mentorship costed. Obviously, if you know who my mentor is, which is Morgan Nelson, I'll talk a little bit more about him in a minute. Um, he's been working on the process that now is Dreamfest for quite some time, perfected it. Not to mention, this man is literally a weapon when it comes to um, brain, neuroplasticity, sales, psychology of sales, um, and all sorts of things like that. However, he is also very compassionate and has a much bigger mission in life. His mission is to make the leaders of this world very successful. But what I really wanted to go to this event for is to support my fellow mentees. So obviously, being in a mentorship program, just like you guys love each other and support each other. Some of you know each other better than others because you attended maybe events or webinars or participated to the same calls. The same dynamic exists obviously in my mentorship program. Some people stayed longer, some people joined recently. My mentor runs events all year round. So just to give you a quick recap, um, my I signed up nearly 12 months ago. Well, exactly 12 months ago, but I had a 3-month break while I was going through separation in America. And what my mentorship program consists of is group calls, just like we do, not as many, not as often. I don't have direct access to my mentor under any form or circumstance. I can try to message him. If he feels good, he will respond, but it's not like something that he's supposed to do. If I want to have a one-on-one with him, is I think $2,000 a pop every time, just for 1 hour of his time. But if I attend the events, he's there. He's there, and our mastermind up till now was fairly small. So we will be like 30 of us in a classroom. And the masterminds are in-person events that happen every quarter. So you definitely get to have some of his attention. However, not enough to run your entire business past him. However, if you're good at being pushy, you get a lot of his attention. I get a lot of his attention, but I am me, and it took me some time to figure out that that's what you get in life. If you know when to ask for help and you find the right moment, people will give you attention. And that was like a big thing that needed to get adjusted in the mentorship program, because in my previous one, there was more designated time. There was more, even on the group calls, I could get my mentor attention quite a lot. Whereas in this one is not really like that. However, the amount of um, information he provides us, and the majority of the benefit of that mentorship program is the connection to the people that he gives us. So I'm there for the networking. I'm there to become a public speaker. I'm there for the core courses that he teaches and the opportunity that you get through the network, through the people in your program, through your colleagues. But you are expected at that level to find the opportunity yourself. You just given the environment. I pay $30,000 a year for the environment, not to have access to someone 24/7. In saying that, the two times that I needed a quick answer, so the community answers immediately, like I always post in a school community, and the other entrepreneurs in that group are sometimes more savvy than him, because he's a millionaire. He's so removed from the systems that if you ask him what is the best CRM, how do you guys do this sequence, he's not going to respond. He's going to tag his CRM guy. So you might as well just ask the group and then get multiple responses. So anyway, this is just to give you a quick overview of how my mentorship program at that level works. However, Dreamfest is a lot of things. Like, as it's called by the name, it's an event that invites you to really dream big. And it's very inspiring to be there, because like any person that creates an event, you guys just came to my retreat, you see how much goes into caring for the community, the flow during the day, the energy levels that people will have during the day, the food, this and that. So watching Morgan operate like that for 2-3 days, actually consecutively, it's always very good, like from a learning point of view. But what he does, he invites famous people to talk about different topics. And because of his network and his contacts and the favors that people owe him and whatnot, like businesses created, there are some pretty huge people available for you to talk, to meet, and to learn from. So these events, they are for entrepreneurs. If you have some in your country, go to them. There is always going to be a benefit. You will always learn something new. Now, Dreamfest is a low ticket event. I think the tickets were like less than $100 for 3 days, or like 2 days. And then the third one was maybe extra if you wanted to pay. But we had entertainment. We had multiple speakers. We had giveaways, gifts, whatever, music. It was a very engaging event that almost sounded like a festival, so it was definitely fun. What was really nice is that 90% of the people in that room were my age. They either had a business or were starting a business. There were people that could have chosen to be partying the night before and instead chose to be having a party at 8 in the morning with other entrepreneurs in a room. Like, it's a room that I wish I was in 10 years ago. Now, what I want to get straight into is some of the speakers. So these are people that I want you to potentially guys follow. So can I have a thumb up if you see my screen? Because once I make you a little, I don't see you. Awesome. So I'm just going to power through them. Dan Martell. I don't even know. I must have unfollowed him before by accident. Sorry. So Dan Martell is obviously, he has over 1 million followers. So he spoke to us, and this is a brilliant guy to follow. He has a very good book. He is a big preacher of the fact that success doesn't mean exchanging your time for money. Your mental health, your family, other priorities are more important. And if you really want to go through his content, I feel like everything has value. So you can watch his videos forever. But what I like from most of the conversations at this level, and I want to spend a minute over this particular topic is the people that I'm talking about, my mentor, myself, we're trying to make a shit ton of money, right? Like you're going to be following these people and seeing them talking about millions, billions. But what I want to remind you is what I remind myself, is what my mentor reminds me all the time. It's not about the money. It's about the person that you have to become to make that million. When I train you guys to make your $100,000 with murals, it's not about making $100,000 in murals. It's not about joining the 10K club and make $10,000 in murals every single month religiously. It's about the business owner and artist and person that you're gonna become by trying to make that consistent. Yeah, because you're gonna push some boundaries in yourself, learn some new skills, get to uncomfortable levels, but also set up higher standards in your life, in your routine, in your with your laziness, with your comfort, with your desires, with the honesty with yourself. And that is the transformation that we are all ultimately talking about when we're talking about success. And the word success can be swapped by whatever amount of money in whichever industry, but at the core, that's what we're talking about, is chasing that better version of ourselves in order to have a better life for ourselves. So I want you to keep this in mind when you go follow these people or when you listen to these people talking, because the things that they say, they will always apply to you too, even if you don't feel represented by $1 million or $10 million. Anyway, he is pretty brilliant, and he was so sorry because I'm cross-checking multiple notes here, as promised. But his core presentation at this event was literally about the buyback principle. So it was like, if you have to hire someone, don't hire someone to make more money in your business, but hire someone to save you time. So even when you hire assistants, don't hire assistants so you can say yes to bigger jobs. Hire assistants when you want to step back in order to make more money somewhere else. So the reason for it is you are the genius in your business. What are the $5 tasks that you can give to someone else so you can focus on a $50 task? For example, let's say you were wrapping up a mural. Technically, his point of his presentation was that technically it would be more convenient for you to hire someone to clean your brushes and pack up at the end of your mural. Let's say cleanup takes you 4 hours. If you hire someone, $20 an hour, to clean all the brushes, clean the floor, pack up your shit in the car, wouldn't it be better to give that person $20 an hour, let's say $80 to do that, and you sit down and do 4 hours of outreach? If you were to do that, if you were to give someone $80 and you sit down and do outreach and you land a bigger job because you had the energy and that's his logic in bottom line on the conversation that he was leading at this webinar. And I think it's a very powerful lesson, because a lot of time I waste a lot of time doing things because I hold back from delegating when my genius is somewhere else. And a lot of time I see middle artists doing things wrong when they hire expensive help for things when really they should have hired cheaper help for things that they don't need to do so they could focus on the good things to do. And as I said, these lessons are transferable for most for most businesses, and it's always nice when I listen to these big presenters to remind myself that, it's applicable even in our crazy world of a mural that no one understands. Now, the next speaker was someone a little bit crazy that I didn't expect to see, but it was about artificial intelligence. Who here feels like the AI world is moving so freaking fast and you barely got a hang of ChatGPT, and you know that there's like a world out there of all the fucking things, but you don't even know where to begin. So I still feel like it. She didn't help me at all, other than make me feel even more overwhelmed. However, what I want to go over with you guys is a couple of things that she dropped that sounded really juicy. And I want to share them with you. So let's Google them together. AI tool. You're welcome to take screenshots or photos. So she recommended to use Clap. When you have videos, when you do longer videos, Clap can turn them into incredibly juicy shorts. So many of them is going to do it super fast. It's going to put caption, can do them branded. Apparently, is highly utilized already by a lot of influencers and people on social media. And this just means that if you are, so this is for you guys, if you're planning to have a YouTube channel, and I know some of you already attempted this, or if you have been on someone's podcast, or if you want to start your own podcast, essentially what everyone is doing now, instead of doing lots of short videos for Reels, for their TikTok or their Instagram, they are just choosing to record something longer, a pretend to be interview, a real interview, telling about their day, telling about their mural project, and then upload it into something like this and get a bunch of different videos out of it. So what artificial intelligence does is smart enough to know which part of that conversations are juicy and make sense in 10 seconds or in 15 seconds. So you essentially just upload a video and it just spits out as many pieces of content as you ask him to. And it will also simultaneously remove all background noise, the hum, the ums, and whatnot. So I don't know now how much these things cost, but it does like AI editing, reframing, engaging captions, and you can also publish and schedule all through one tool. So I thought this was worth saving and mentioning. And then there is one called Submagic. Sub The reason I like going to this event and listen to when they recommend some tools is because this person wouldn't have gotten on a stage in front of 800 people and recommend crap or recommend things that will blow up on her, right? So it's good to just listen to some softwares that have been tested and have been recommended and are being used by people that are not getting banned on Instagram, because that's the other problem. A lot of pop-up AI tools that are appearing are actually not being good for your algorithm. Whereas the stuff that they recommended, if these big guys are using them, that means they are not ending up in, Instagram prison. So this is the same kind of thing, but apparently it's good for B-rolls. So it will also slap captions, but it will create some B-rolls like that. So if you say the word money, it will like find a video of money and it will like slap it there for 2 seconds. So it would just make your video a little bit longer or add those, B-rolls according to your keywords. That's kind of what I got out of it. And it will also zoom in and out automatic. Oh, it can take like a video that is this format and turn it that format. So like one that's horizontal, it would turn it vertical. It will adapt it to all of your video, all of your platforms that you wanted to share on. Um, Caption accuracy apparently is a big deal. So these two are very good for that. You know how sometimes, especially with people with accents. So these two were both discussed as very good caption reading thing for people that are not even English speakers, because when you are a podcaster, you interview people from all over the world, and then you spend a lot of money because someone needs to manually edit all the captions, because the person with a Polish Italian crazy accent like mine, the captions are usually always wrong. If I do captions just in Instagram, I swear God, I have to spend 2 fucking minutes to correct. Even like the word mural never gets recorded correctly, which is very annoying because I use it quite some time in my videos. So that if you don't see me post captions, it's because I can't be bothered correcting them. But with tools like this, apparently they're really good. Okay. And then the last one was for podcast, but she said there's this one called Via DM, and this is where things get a little bit freaky. Via DM AI. So I didn't know, but there are robots that, see, maybe this one is not AI powered Instagram DM automation. This one, some of them might not be available in Australia. Yeah. So there are bots and platforms, and this is one of them, that will automatically message people pretending to be you to create engagement. And they are already doing that. But the crazy thing that she mentioned is that you can literally, apparently, um, upload the followers of your competition. So you can find a big mural artist and put it in a software like this, and the software will go and engage either in the comments or DMs. So it doesn't have to be DMs. Some of them do it in comments, and it would look like it's you. And because you're in the same industry, they will just see that you are liking and commenting all of their stuff. And because they get all the notifications, they'll be like, oh, who is this person? Then they go and look at you and they follow you if you obviously are relevant. So this obviously works if you have already a pretty organized online presence, but it's pretty scary that you can do that and that it's not illegal, because essentially what she was saying, so back to who I was talking about, Athena Pegler, look this profile because she just exploded. She just won the school games, #1 AI community. Her school is free if you want to learn more about AI. She literally just went into a multi-billionaire in the last year. She has zero social skills. I was at an after party with her and I couldn't even speak to her. Like it was talking to her was breaking my brain. It's just when you take a nerd and you give her a lot of money and she goes super high, super fast, and she doesn't know how to speak on stage or how to speak to people. And I think she was obviously very stressed. That's why I feel for her, because she had to learn so many things in such a short amount of time. But she's a genius when it comes to AI. And so if you want to follow her, she's gonna be sharing more stuff. But obviously these apps that she shared with us, it was just her kind of like little giveaway for small business owners to be aware that a lot of other people out there are cheating. And that's what she was saying. She was like, the big influencers that are growing now on Instagram, when it's hard to grow on Instagram, they're not giving away this yet, because they just got onto it. They just got onto the fact that there are now some AI robots that will essentially create engagement for you, and that's how people will follow you back, and they're doing it. So one that she mentioned was that one that I don't know, and the other one was Inflact. Inflact. So I'm gonna try it. Marketing toolkit for Instagram. Like they legit, people use them. You can get 7-day pro access for $3 apparently, and they attract user to build a loyal community, interact automatically with people. Like you don't have to spend hours in your thing, and it also helps you post regular and boost reach via hashtags. So I don't know why this shit is legal, and I don't know why it's not getting filtered, but my theory is that there were just so many of them being created that Instagram has given up fighting them all, and now they're probably monetizing on it. So if you pay the right ones, then you will experience the growth. So these are the ones that got recommended. I haven't tried them yet, but these are the ones that Athena Pegler jumped on a stage in front of 800 people and mentioned. So I thought I'm going to share it with you guys because these were the tools that been given to me, and you're in my program, so you get the benefit of hear about that. But yeah, this chick, pretty crazy. She created like a massive program that joins all the AIs that exist so far, and she does like super targeted marketing for your ideal client, and her AI program builds you a whole funnel, landing page, everything in one. It costs about $3,000 a month as a subscription, but it essentially allows you, if you have a bigger company like an agency, it allows you to fire about 30 people. And instead of paying 30 people, like a whole marketing team, a whole graphic design team, and a whole sales team, it allows you to do all of that with her program pretty neatly for like $3,000 a month. So that is her business model that she's becoming famous for. Another thing that she said was that in Australia, a shit ton of very good and efficient AI programs are banned or not available. I don't know how the situation is in Europe. I think probably similar, but America is unhinged. So they are just being extorted by AI by the sound of it. So she had a lot of restrictions in her presentation that she couldn't share with us because it was not relevant. But apparently in America, they have even more technology available for small business owners to really get an upper hand in life. And this year, guys, is like it's like people that didn't want to build websites when websites started becoming a thing, when laptops started to become a thing. It's like people that didn't buy crypto when Bitcoin started to be a thing. It's like people that didn't open a fucking TikTok when TikTok started to be a thing. Like AI is here and it's peaking, and you either get on top of it now or you're going to be left a little bit behind and then regretting not getting smarter about it sooner. So these are just names that I want you to follow if you're interested and you want to know more. Now, the Queen of Confidence, she was my favorite. I hugged her. I was wearing pink shoes. She was wearing a pink thing. She's like my soul sister. I think she's the number one candidate for my next mentor because I think I like switching between a guy and a girl every year or two. So um, she shared her story. I would say just follow her for mental health, to be honest. But the biggest takeaways that I had from the presentation, like ultimately what she's saying is unless you stand out, you're going to be forgotten. And think about it even as an artist. Unless someone remembers you for something wacky or because you have a super strong style, you're going to be forgotten. So she's like, you might as well go all out in whatever way out you want to risk going. For her, she's not obsessed with pink, but she feels fabulous when she's wearing it and she's getting the attention she needs to send across her message. So she's like, what it is the thing that you need to do in order to get your message across. And she invites you also to check your competition and ask yourself, why is this person more successful than me? And you will see that a lot of time, even as an artist, is not because they're necessarily more talented than you, but because they're more visible. They are posting more often. They are at more festivals. They are talking to more artists. They're talking to more clients. They're doing bigger roles. You don't know if they're paid or not, but they're there. They're being seen. So it was refreshing to be reminded of simple principles like that being told by giants of the industry and just being like, at the end of the day, the attention of your client gets won by the person that's more willing to go out of the comfort zone to get it. And that means being uncomfortable online, throwing money at the problem, whatever it is. But the person that's willing to put more on the line to get the more attention is going to be remembered and is going to get the money. Um, However, she's super cool. So, like, even all the quotes that she share, I love it. Like she knows she's saying you don't even have to be the loudest in the room. You don't have to wear pink and sparkle, but you have to be heard. You have to find a way to be putting yourself out there and do it often and do it in a fun way. And she was really inviting to remember that business none of the aspects of business have to be tortures or boring, and that's what she's trying to do with her happy outfit thing. She's like, I'm making this fun because going to events is not fun, speaking in front of people is not fun, but hey, I get to go on a crazy shopping spree every time before I go to an event. And I buy the crazy shit and I get to try crazy shit and I get to laugh with all the shopping ladies because I'm like, I need it pinkier, I need it brighter, I need it jigglier. And like it just you make it what you need to make it. But yeah, she has two books as well. And I really like this quote. I actually saved it because I thought I'm going to do a presentation and I decided I don't want to do presentations every time I talk to you guys. So, but if you are always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. And I think that's a beautiful quote to live by because you are all so extraordinary. And by being artists, you're also unique. And if you try to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. And I really thought that was nice. So that is the Confidence Queen. She shared on stage mostly her story, which was really fucking traumatic, guys. Like, she was into drugs. She lost her first lover husband in a car accident because he was drunk, and they were first in a car accident together. Then he died. She was in the military. She had so many like the one thing that these millionaires on stage had in common. None of them came for money. None of them had it easy. None of them were good at what they're good at now when they started. And it's so good to hear the fucking stories, because when you're on the other side of the internet and you just hear about millionaires and billionaires, you just think they're all spoiled brats. And then they come on stage on their stories and you realize that they started doing what they're doing because just like you, they all had the pivotal moment when they hit rock bottom or whatever they were doing before just stopped working for them. And they were like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? And all of them had a story to share. Some of them made a whole presentation about it. Some of them just mentioned it. But when you go to these events, that's why I invite you to attend them. Sometimes they're just online. I listen to a lot of Morgan's events online. Like while I was painting, I I sat through two of his whole day events while I was painting on murals, because I was like, I'm painting all day at the wall, so I can listen to all the talks and and then listen to their podcasts. So there's always something to learn. The next person that was really worth so I was saying how it was very important for me to go even if I was sick, because I wanted to support some of my fellow business owners. Now, I am quite proud to admit, guys, and I want you to be proud of me too. Like, I'm in this mentorship program, right, where people pay 30 grand to study with Morgan Nelson. And out of this group, he just signed up 40 people at this event where 800 people attended, 40 people signed up. So this mentorship program is about to get a little bit wacky. However, so far in our group, there was probably about that many people, maybe 60 active members, around 30, 40. And I am in the boardroom. Me, mural artist, person that makes money with a fucking paintbrush. I'm in the boardroom, which is like the equivalent of our 10K club. I'm with the high achievers. I am representing the art world with the high business owners. Like, we have a separate group chat, and these are people that make over $30,000 a month. So I qualified when I was on a perfect streak. I was making like over, I think the qualification is over 20, but I qualified because I made 30, and then I made more than 30, and then I made 30. That's when I got in. Since then I had ups and downs, but that qualified me because that's all it does. Like, you just need to prove that these are the type of problems you need to solve. They are problems of someone that's making more than 30 grand a month, and they're not the same if you're making less than 10. But not that many people make it there, and even like with all these fancy businesses, like there's not that many people doing that much money. And with murals, we can. Like, I was making that kind of money with murals, not with the mentorship program. So the part of supporting my other business owners that I really love is, for example, Chris and Shani, this guy here, they own Infinity Coaching. They literally joined just before I joined, and when they started, they were making zero money when I joined, and then within a year, they made over $1 million in their business, and now they've been making steady $100 to $150,000 months. They are so obsessed about breath work and about the fact that all your problems start with your breath. So they don't just do breathwork teaching, but they offer breathwork qualifications. They're the number one breathwork people that give qualifications to the business in itself. I think it's called Infinity. I'm going to the event next month. Infinity. This one. So this is the actual business. You wouldn't even be able to tell by how little followers, but these guys have been fucking crushing it. And it's been so good to see them like come with their problems and say like they follow everything that Morgan says to the T. Bam, results. But they're big on the community. They all the businesses that are thriving are people that have a very big passion behind it. The reason they want to do breath work, like they went through shit, like Chris nearly committed suicide in his early 20s. And then it just went back to the basics and what he needs to stabilize himself. And it started with breath work. He went to a breath work random workshop. and it changed his life. And then he started going to them more recently. Then he became a facilitator for someone else. And then he was like, you know what? I can do it better. I can do it better and I can do a bigger change with this. And he did that, gave up the position and started his own company literally last year. And now they are like the biggest thing in Australia. It's so inspiring, but it always comes with like that extra fire in the belly, right? He's also like a single dad. He met Shani through this process at an event, breathwork event, and they got together. But his story on stage was something a little bit different. He was supposed to propose to Shani about 6 months ago on Mount Everest. And so, we are chatting with these guys every week. We saw them training to go to base camp, like they dream and, making fun of them and all of that. And she didn't know that he's going to propose. We kind of all knew that he's going to propose. So, all dramas you have when you know people in your mentorship program. And then guess what? They get first day hiking up, get sick. They get food poisoning and like all sorts of like shitting themselves and vomiting on the hike up base camp. They're so weak, they pretty much survive barely in this tent, medical tent. And he, at some point, he thinks he's gonna die. Like he literally thinks, I don't have anything left in me. I think I'm gonna die. So he tells her, can you please bring me like the um thing with my toiletry, and she's like, you don't need any toiletry right now. He's like, bring me the fucking thing. She brings him the thing and he proposes. He was like, if I'm about to die, I want to go over with a bang. This is the ring. And he proposes in like a puddle of sweat. She says yes. Then she gets sick. They spend another 2 days vomiting, whatnot. Then finally the helicopter that's supposed to take them back home. So they think they're not making it to base camp. The proposal still happened. Hopefully he's not gonna die. She's not gonna die, but they're feeling like shit. However, the guy in the helicopter says, I hope you guys don't mind, but I have some supplies that I need to take up to base camp. It's only going to be 20 minutes, but we're going to go from here first up to base camp, where they were supposed to take 6, 7, 8 days to hike to, where they ultimately wanted to go to. And he's like, if it's okay, we'll just pop there quickly and then I'll take you home or to the hospital or whatever. And they're like, fuck yeah. So essentially the moral of his presentation was pretty cool, and it was like you don't have to struggle in order to reach your goals. At the end of the day, they have a photo standing in fucking base camp, hugging each other, looking like shit, but they feel our own base camp and they made it there. And it was free and it was in a helicopter. And he was like, it didn't mean that we didn't earn it. We earned it just a different way. We still prepared, we still went through shit for it. But the cool thing that he then explained that is part of the breathing process, and it's something that I want to share with you guys because I know that we get overwhelmed. Who here feels like they get overwhelmed more than once a day? And especially doing a mural process or negotiation. Okay, I'm not the only one. Good. So what these guys are very good at explaining is that we have a baseline as human beings, as our nervous system has a baseline that's called like window of tolerance. And let's see if I can share this to my computer so you guys can understand. Maybe better. Me? Accept. Opening photos. Will this be a good idea? Ugh. Sorry, it's a new laptop. There you go. Okay, so can you guys see this? So window of tolerance is the body's in optimal state. You can access both reason and emotion, and you're mentally engaged. Whenever you going hyper arousal is when your heart starts palpitating and you go in flight or fight mode. That's a state of hyper arousal. It's not a good one, but what happened there, your mind stops acting clearly and you are emotionally distressed and you can't make clever choices. Who here has said something stupid and regretted it after because in a normal state of mind they would have never done that? Awesome. So that happened because your window of tolerance went out of the window and you went in a state of hyperarousal for whatever reason. You couldn't come down and you made poor choices. And then when you returned to your window of tolerance, you were like, what the fuck have I done? The opposite problem also happens when you're either depressed, lethargic, numb, or unmotivated, and that's hyperarousal. So that's when you're like really sluggish and you can't bring yourself to do anything. You're below your window of tolerance. So mastering your state means that you teach yourself how to get back into your window of tolerance if your optimal state whenever you need it to. And when you master this, your window of tolerance also becomes wider. So it's going to take much more to make you pissed off and illogical or to make you lethargic. The more you teach yourself to be in that optimal state. And all Chris and Shani are saying through their wonderful business is that the easiest way is through breath. So whenever you're feeling sluggish and lethargic, using breath work like to speed up your breath, and that can be easier if you go on a run or if you do some quick push-ups or if you decide to like inhale long and exhale fast. That's how you create the energy to bring you back up. Whereas if you're in hyper arousal, what do you need to do? Slow, deep breaths. Chill the fuck down, lay down for a second and re-regulate. Go take a shower. Do something to calm yourself down so you come back in your optimal state in the green thing. So it's start with being aware of whenever you're out of the green zone. And then just remind yourself that literally just by breathing, you can bring yourself back into the right one. So I know these are very basic shit, but I don't know you guys, but I had like panic attacks my whole life, and I'm definitely learning only now how to self-regulate properly. Because just slowing down breathing for 5 seconds and not gonna do it. You need to do it for like a minute or two solid with intention to be able to snap yourself out of a very deep state. And if you've never done breath work, maybe go to a next workshop when it's advertising near you because you might learn a thing or two. These guys clearly make a huge business out of it, meaning there is a big need for stuff like that, and it's becoming more popular because it works. Okay, so this was them, and then the last person, the notes that I have are from some salespeople. They were a little bit less notorious or whatever, like at least not that many million followers, but I had some notes that I just wrote that I wanted to quickly share with you because these are like the notes about sales that I felt compelled to write down. And if you know anything about me, if I write it down, it means that's important. The best salespeople don't have the best answers, but they ask the best questions. The best salespeople don't have all the answers, they just ask the best questions. So whenever you guys go on your site inspections, if you follow my mural guide for site inspections, you know that I tell you to ask a lot of questions because the more you get people to talk, the more comfortable they get with you, but also they might share all the stuff that you need, including budget, including more information for the design you're going to be creating. You might get them to feel like they're collaborating with you. They're not just being sold, which brings me to the next thing. Because believe it or not, the fact I know that you guys don't like feeling salesy. So I was in a room with 800 people listening to these presentations. Guess what? They were all agreeing on that they don't like feeling salesy. Nobody likes selling. Nobody. Doesn't matter if you're selling murals or if you're selling lollies or whatever, but like nobody likes feeling salesy. And it was explained in a quite interesting way why. Saying everyone has post-traumatic salesperson disorder. We all got sold in a salesy way at some point in our lives. Yes? Who here has post-traumatic salesperson disorder? Yeah, there you go. And, we also got reminded there are so many horrible, super popular, horrible movies that really exaggerate that sales, even just The Wolf of Wall Street, like they make such a huge movies, but they really show that salesy pushy, dodgy, and they glorify it. And so when people think of sales, this pop culture plus your trauma of people knocking at your door trying to selling you Bibles or whatever is gonna get triggered, and suddenly you're like, ugh. I don't want this, and I don't want to give that feeling to people. So that's why you feel that way when you realize you need to sell. But other than being careful when choosing, you can be careful by choosing words that don't trigger. So this was one of the biggest takeaway. People being like, you really, we really live in a world where people are forgetting the power of wording, and cheap salespeople are using standard wording. And it's obvious when it's salesy. You know, pick up a call and it's like, "Good day, mom, may I interest you into blah, blah, blah." Like, you know, it's going to be a sales call. So one way of not sounding salesy is avoid that, like avoid those words and just bring it back to human beings having a conversation about a need and an exchange of something that they need versus something you can offer without calling it an offer. And in our world, it's a mural. It's not an offer. You're not trying to do a sale. You're an artist. You can give them something that they can't paint by themselves, that can give them a benefit that they might want. So by choosing your words, and we do that a lot in our program in the messaging, I believe. So I felt quite validated. But it was a good reminder that words can trigger things. And if we stay away from certain words and certain obvious things, then you might feel less salesy. Another good thing that they say is don't forget to be playful. Like, don't forget to have fun. Even when you talk to your clients, don't put the pressure on the sale. Remember, people like having human interactions. We are wired to be social. Whenever you're having even sales conversation, have conversations first. Aim for the connection, not the sale. The connection is the goal. The sale will follow if it might. Um, then it was really going down into the psychology of patterns as a salesperson. So you're either a hider, who here has like, maybe I told you, call your lead and follow up on them and tell them that you need to finalize your calendar and that you really need to know if they're in and out. Who here had a call to follow up with a client ever? No? Someone, come on. I know you guys call people. Have you ever called? Who here had wished when he was on a call that they're not gonna pick up because they didn't want him to have that conversation? So they were like, yeah. So if that's you, you're a hider. So you have the PTSD from salespeople, most likely. You are happy when the lead doesn't show up because you don't have to think about it. You don't have to go through the stress of having to sell. The other type of person is the hustler, that they try to close before they even connect. So you just like, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to just say the price, and they're in and out, and that's going to be it, and I'm just going to make it fast. That's another typology of salesperson. Whereas the third person is what you should be aiming to be, which is a helper. If instead of being avoidant or instead of being a hustler, you fall into the helping salesperson like persona, they don't chase people, they educate. They stay calm and they lean in and help. So if someone was to say, I have to think about it, you would say, no worries at all. I totally understand it's a serious investment. For example, a mural, it's a big change for your space. I totally get it that you need to spend some time on it. Before I let you go, though, is there anything on your mind that you would like to ask me so we can go over it together before I wrap up this call? Like, this will be how a helpful person would approach a potential lead instead of either being pushy or being evasive. You're just making yourself available as an educator, as a person that knows the most about this opportunity and is giving them a chance to explore it safely without being pushy, and by really acknowledging that it's a big fucking investment and it's a scary change, especially when it comes for murals. I want you guys to remember that. For you, you know, it's an average mural, maybe it's a small size mural, and that's all you're thinking about. But for these guys, it's a big fucking artwork in the middle of their living space or in the middle of their business. Like, it's a big change. Doesn't matter if it's for $2,000 or 500, but it's a shock that they weren't maybe even considering going through until you pitched. So just hold some space and make them comfortable first about it. So this was a good chance to remind you guys of that. And then what This guy went on about is that we are naturally inclined to help. So helping is not try to help to. And then there was my favorite part of the talk. I remember this from last year, and it really changed a little bit my mindset. And I really hope that you, by hearing this, it will make you more comfortable with yours. But who here believes that the mural service is good and that your murals did do a positive change for their clients in the past? Yeah, can we all be convinced that your mural did a change on the wall? Maybe if you didn't have a client and you did paint a mural for yourself, your backyard, your neighbor, was that an improvement? Was that good? Good. We all on the same page with that. So wouldn't you say that it's your moral freaking obligation to offer your service to the people that you know your awesome murals can help? And I'll take it a step further because they did too. But wouldn't you think it's your moral freaking obligation now that you went through this mural program and you know how to handle the client properly? You're going to give them a good proposal. You're going to give them a fair price. You're going to put your heart on the line and execute the mural the way PJ taught you, which is the good, long lasting way of creating murals. Don't you think it's your mural obligation to find the client that wants a mural before average Joe who doesn't know what a primer is going to get to them? Well, I'm telling you, it's your moral fucking obligation after this program to get all the mural clients out there because I don't want the below average Joe that doesn't know what a primer is to get to them because it's going to destroy our industry. So the next time you step doing outreach, remember that you have not just a gift and a desire to paint murals, but on top of that, you are a great representative of this industry. And the mural opportunity should go to you because you invested in yourself. You invested in the knowledge. You will deliver this service in a way above average method compared to the market. So it is your moral obligation to put your services out there because people are looking for them and they're going to find whatever if they don't find you. So it is your moral obligation to do outreach because someone is looking for this type of service and I want them to find yours. Um, so if you stay a hider, people won't know that you can help them. If you stay a hustler, people won't trust that you can help them. But if you become a helper, you become of service and people need that service. So this is pretty quick reminder. Now there's a pretty, I want you guys, let's do it all together. It's gonna be a little bit embarrassing, but let's do it. Every time I say clap, we're gonna clap. Are you ready? I'm gonna make sure that you're awake at 8 p.m. Okay? 1, 2, 3, clap. I want to see you clap. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, clap. 1, 2, 3, clap. 1, 2, 3, clap. One, keep going. 1, 2, 3, clap. 1, 2, 3, clap. See, I didn't clap this time, but some of you did. This is just to prove how quickly we form a pattern. If I was to do it properly in person, would have a non-delayed Zoom thing, but we did it in a room of 800 people, and literally like 80% of the room clapped on the clap that didn't go ahead. And this was just to simply prove how quickly we form a pattern. Our brains are wired for patterns because our brain wants to rest as soon as it can. So forming a pattern is like when you switch off, when you drive with your car and you do always the same road between work and home, you literally turn off your brain at some point, right? Because you're like, you know the way. So your brain chooses to form patterns and go into like saving energy mode as often as it can. And that is through patterns. And the reason I'm talking about it is because the same way that you can form pattern, that's how quickly you can start spiraling. And this means if you get told no 3, 4 times in a row, that's going to create patterns in your brain saying, okay, the next time I put myself out there is also going to be a no. That's why it's important, and I love that they cover this at Dreamfest because I cover that with you guys every Thursday/Friday when we celebrate the wins. the negative patterns will always be happening in business and will always be happening with sales. So if you get desensitized to people saying no to you, or if you rewire your brain to be like, you're not being told no, you've put yourself out there. If you focus on, I met 10 business owners today, not I pitched and I've been told no to 10 murals today, your brain goes into a winning mentality. I met 10 owners today. I got to pitch them about my murals and they know now about my business. But it's different than saying, oh, 10 people said no to my murals today. So just a big reminder, how you position the things that you do really matter, because we form patterns very quickly. So whenever you do outreach, remember you're reaching for connections. You're not trying to sell. You're not trying to close sales. And you have to, if you do have some negative patterns, you have to find positive patterns to outnumber those other ones, because that is really how quickly your brain is going to decide that it's what it's supposed to be. I hope that makes sense. I can elaborate further, but I think you guys got the point. Open discovery calls, ask the friend about, okay, no, that's a different consequence question. I was on an exercise and self for service communicate. Okay, so just saying self for the recap of all of this thing was self for service and communicate for connection only to create positive patterns. So self for service, sell because you want to be of help and of service, and it comes from a moral obligation that you believe in what you have to offer, and you believe that the way you offer it is the way your client deserves it. If you step into your business really from that point of view, it's going to give you a world of power. And communicate for connection, not for selling, but for connection. So if this is in person or through your social media or on your outreach messaging, ask yourself, is this person going to want to connect with me? So we did this exercise very recently with the exercise on outreach that was intentional outreach. That's literally what we were doing. We were deciding that we're going to communicate, reach out for connection, not for just the sale. And what we got out of the results, a lot of people got responded, even if was to say no, but they created a connection, and the connection brought a response or created a long-lasting, networking connection. But because you communicated with the intention of connecting, not with the intention of strictly selling. So the more you're going to do that in business, the more successful you're going to be, because the big seller, the salespeople that you're going to find on the internet, if you don't follow him or them yet, but Hermosi, how do you spell it? Alex. Bloody Alex Hermosi, come on. Hormozy, sorry. He just did a book launch and broke the world record. But anyway, this is a couple, him and his wife, and they've been very autistic and very good about talking about sales. And everything they say, they're pearls of wisdom, to be honest. But I really encourage you to follow them and getting motivated by them. I lost my train of thoughts. Communicate. Oh, they are all about connection and all the pieces of value. Like they always, before they share anything, will be like, "Would you share it if you were new?" And I'll leave you on this last one because the last presenter that I wanted to show you. So follow Hermosa if you don't yet. Podcast amazing as well. But Dojo Media. So he's also technically part of my mentorship. He graduated the year before I joined, but now he's a business partner of Morgan. He did all the events and I talked to him a lot. I had a call with him the other day again about my brand. And his biggest advice, even on stage, was like, whenever you're about to post something, ask yourself, if you weren't you, would you share that piece of content? So if you are about to share about your dog or whatever you cooking, like obviously the answer is probably going to be no. Like if it was a stranger of the internet, why would a stranger of the internet share that thing? However, Some of you have done some very incredible pieces of content, especially lately, where you educate people about mural process, or you educate people about the design process behind the mural process. I can see people share that because they want to educate people, or they just want to share, like, look how cool this is. So his biggest like piece of advice was really like, before you post anything, and it's gonna take time to become so good that the content that you share and create is all shareable. But that's when you hit the jackpot, and that's when you explode online, because everything you say, everything you share becomes something that people can relate to, learn from, or laugh about. So it usually goes back to educating, inspiring, or entertaining, but it has to be neutral enough that everyone can relate, and niche enough that is still obviously about your business and about your niche. But sometimes going too deep to personal is not good for the algorithm, and being too vague, generic, or off topic, it's also not good. And these guys do, it's an agency, so they really see a lot of. So when Morgan started working with them, it's when I joined. His Instagram was under 20,000. Morgan Nelson, my mentor, and I was 162. I saw them growing. Dojo Media shared the exact process. They started doing long content, like even just what they write here. If you check all of these profiles that I share with you today, they all have the bio structured the same way. They all have pin posts at the top that establish their authority, that establish their niche. And that's something that we do as artists too. Remember when we did, we all went over your online presence. And it's like, if you're an artist and you already have a portfolio, have a pin post that showcases your biggest, best jobs to date, and then have a pin post about yourself. If you were on the media, that post will have snippets of media, of whatever else you do that's super cool, like, cycling across the world, or me traveling in a freaking motorhome. So just pin at the top the things that make you you, that make you memorable. Going back to what we were saying with the pink lady, what is your story? What is going to make you memorable for you? We covered a bit of this at the retreat too, so I'm not going to go in circles, but I hope this was a powerful recap of a little bit of what you can expect when you go to these events. Something that I was very happy about the balance. So there was, like, AI, there was a bit of a marketing. There were more people that were on stage. There was a doctor that's also part of my program, and that was talking about leaky gut and health. And obviously, it's at the heart of everyone. Your health is everything. Without health, you can't run a business. Without health, you can't be passionate about anything. Without your health, you cannot go out there and change the world in any way and form. So I just don't want to add any more time on that. But that's something that any level of business, people eventually have to go back to. And I thought I'm quickly gonna brush on that, because we experience burnout, we experience high and lows going through from projects on murals to back on admin. And I just wanted to remind you, because I got reminded at this event, that we are not alone in this. Like, everyone that run their own businesses goes through problems looking after themselves, eating well, exercising, even seeing bloody daylight. I nearly died during this event because I didn't see fresh air or the sun during the breaks. Me and my friend Sarah were literally going outside in the only patch of grass available in that industrial area. We were taking our shoes off, putting our feet in the grass, and looking at the sun like fucking plants. That was our break, every break, which were every 5 hours, which wasn't often enough. And the aircon was blasting, and it was like a very non-human friendly environment. And yet inside they were talking about how to be healthy and grounded and take breaks. And I was like, dying with my like sinus congestion and stuff. I don't know how I fucking survived this. But then, what was beautiful? That they were incentivizing us to go and talk to someone that we haven't met yet. And, everyone is like, oh, I don't want to talk to strangers. But then now I have so many new cool people in my group. So I know I'm proud of so many of you here going to events, but I want to encourage you, after this call, literally jump on your phone, Google entrepreneurs event near me. business events in my area, artist events in my area, and please let's commit to go to one in the next, it's the beginning of September. I can guarantee there is at least one event that you can attend this month in the month of September that's going to put you out of your comfort zone. If the last one that you attended was about art, pick one that is about business. And if the last one was about business, pick one that it's about art. Even if it's someone's art exhibition, a gallery opening, an artist collective. I got told about one today by Tanya. She's on this call. No, she's working tonight. But Tanya from the program came to my studio today, and she told me about this 3 hour workshop run by a couple that does interactive installations all over the world, and they're gonna be presenting in Brisbane for Brisbane Festival that is starting. Is a month-long event. It's very artsy, and they are the couple that is behind all the creative marketing of this year. They're from New York, but they're doing this 3 hour kind of like webinar event that's for $15, and it's on Sunday. And it's exactly when I'm supposed to run our usual planning session, which nobody attended last time. So I think if you guys don't care about it, I might stop them. The only person attending is usually Tanya, but she'll be going with me to this event. So, like, I know two other people are on break. They usually attended, but I might move it to Monday and trial it on a Monday and see if it works. But I will be going to this event instead, and I hope to meet a lot of other creatives. And I honestly haven't done much networking in a creative space that is not strictly murals or strictly business. So my window for a little while, I wanted to be like creatives, like creative agencies, designers. I want to see what else is out there that I'm not tapping. I want to be the only mural artist, but I don't want to be the only creative. I'm trying to find environments like that. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm talking, like what kind of vibe I'm talking about, but that one kind of ticks the box, so I'm gonna go. And the reason I found out about it is because another artist told me. So you can even, if you can't think of any events or you can't find them, how about you do a shout out on Facebook or on Instagram being like, hey, does anyone know of any events in the area or worth traveling for? Message your favorite artists in the area and ask them, be like, hey, do you know of any event worth attending? And let's, with the replay of this webinar in the post, I will ask you to share the event in the post. So let's try to do it. Yay? Thumbs up if you are excited. Now I'm gonna quickly unmute. Well, you can unmute yourself if you have any questions about any of the above. Any of the speakers, the event, my mentor, my mentorship. Do you have any questions?
I was just wondering, with the speakers, did they come from all over the world, or were they based mainly in Australia? Like, because it would help if they're from all
No,
over the
so
place, because you get the big demographic, like of what it's like
yeah,
in.
so no,
So were they
Morgan
all
flew.
from?
No, so Athena's from America.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, all the big guys were from America. So Morgan spent a shit ton of money flying them over. They were all allowed to pitch. So full disclosure, this was a sales event. So everyone in one way or another was allowed to pitch something. And this happened in different ways. The most subtle ones, they would give you something for free. So they were like, if you want to download this free thing, or if you want a free copy of the book, scan this QR code. But guess what? To get this free book, you need to give your details. So eventually, I expect some emails trying to sell me something at some point. Some of them were more direct, and they would be like, I run a mentorship program if you want to be part of it, which I always find fascinating because my mentor at the end of 3 days of other people pitching, he's pitching his program for 30 grand. But if someone has already purchased something else, they don't have any money left. So I sometimes think it's a bit interesting that he chooses to do it that way. Because I remember struggling with that myself last year, but but a lot of people wait for his pitch. So they're like, But the other guys will make you like be like, oh, the first 20 people. So you kind of like want to rush to their offers too. It's fascinating. You learn a lot as a salesperson of how people do things in a different way. But yeah, but the short answer, it was a mixed bag. And even we had a sax guy like playing a saxophone. He's mind blowing. He was there last year too. We had fire spinners. Like it was a very entertaining event. But the guy with the saxophone, he is from New Zealand. And Morgan met him at random at someone else's wedding party and just really loved him. And last year, called him last minute and he was like, hey, it would be nice to have some live, super cool music. Do you want to fly over? I'll pay you the ticket accommodation and I'll throw you a couple of bucks. And the guy said yes. And this year called him again. So it's really like a mixed bags of connection at that level of business. You know, you just
Yeah,
never
it's a
know
big network. Yeah.
yeah, and you can create incredible things with a bigger network, you know. So it's always what I'm noticing. You know, even the after party where I went to, I was literally at an after party at La Luna, which is a yacht club bar in the Gold Coast. You can get in easily and just buy a drink. You need to dress very nice, but it wasn't complicated to get in. Even if I wasn't at the event, we had half of it booked out for ourselves, and I had like a bracelet with $300 of booze on it that my mentor just gave us. But the after party had literally multi-millionaire, like we were just standing together with people like me, people that earn less than me, and multimillionaires, people like Athena who just won the school games and are worth billions of dollars. And we were all like next to each other, and it was like a big of a bizarre, like, you know, I was like, that's why I went. Even if I was dying, I put on a pretty dress. You guys all saw the picture on my story. I was looking very cute, but I was dying. I was like trying not to sound sick. I was probably having 30% of the conversations I could have had if I was at full capacity. But honestly, after 2 days of peopling at the event, when I woke up that morning and I realized I have to go to a fancy party with millionaires, I was like, kill me now. Like today's not the day. Like, I was like really feeling like dying. And I'm like, put your best face on, PJ. You got this. And I'm still very proud I did. But it was, I'm definitely like, I need to get used to it. You really need to get your conversation game on, like how to sound interesting, how to talk about yourself interestingly. Because these people, when they come to you and they're like, what do you do? Oh, I slap paint on the wall. No, I own a national mural company and a global training program for artists. Oh, that's so cool. But you know, I had to like learn how to speak like them and be like, this is what I do. And I was like, how do you do that? And I was like, well, I have a mentorship program and I have like artists from all over the world, but it's capped and I have these modules. But then on top of that, I run my mural projects and they're usually like around $20,000 to $30,000. People like fly me all over Australia for them. You know, it sounds like it's very cool. And this millionaire is like, oh my God, you paint and people fly you around. I'm like, hey, yeah. And then you're vibing with the pink hats and martinis. And it's so easy to be cool when you're an artist, guys. Like you just need to get yourself in those rooms. And it's not that hard. Sometimes you have to pay for a mentorship program, but what I realized the other day, I made friends with a fire spinner that, you know, I used to be in the fire spinning world. Guess what? They get hired by House of Multimillionaires all the fucking time for entertainer. Like it's not, and I was like, oh my God, it never striked me to just like try to be like, hey, where's the next party or whatever. Not that they can like invite you over, but when he's at clubs, he can totally let you know, hey, there's a bunch of millionaires at this club. I'm spinning there tonight. And you just put a pretty dress, ask a friend to go. You can get in any club if you pay and you dress properly. And then suddenly you know that that table there is all millionaires. Go and have your pretty speech about you running a mural company. I don't know, but like it's when you start like realizing they're just people and they still need to drink, party, and eat somewhere. And however, they are more open to have cool conversation than normal people that earn a 9 to 5 job because they're bored. They've seen everything, they've done everything. So when they go to events, they actually go to be social. Like they are there for networking. And they are just, you know how we say everything becomes a habit, right? Like if you do lots of outreach, you're going to do outreach out of habit. For them, networking, it's a habit. They just do it muscle memory. So they will go to a toilet and you might be pissing next to them and then they'll be like, so what do you do? Like, because it's just they default to, they realize that what made them millionaires is networking. That will go all goes down to, like, ultimately the big money go down to who do you know? It's always there. So it's like, how quickly do you want to be in these rooms? How quickly do you want to become good at talking to everyone and pitching yourself, not pitching yourself, but creating connection with as many people as fast as possible everywhere you go. That is like the only way to success. And that is like so obvious when you step into these rooms because everyone is making them, you might be tired, but we're all there for the same reason, just to talk to each other. And we all went there and we all put our best shoes on just to talk to each other, just to talk to as many people as we can and give as many business cards. I don't have any business cards, guys. It's pretty embarrassing. I don't know how many times I've been asked for a business card in the last year and I haven't had one ready. So I need to fix that. But these days, everyone is like, I love that I'm easy to Google and I'm easy to find on the internet. And as soon as people write mural, I pop up, especially if we share a bit of a network. So it's been validating. But yeah, that was a very good question. Sorry for answering a very long way, but there were people from all over the world with all sorts of wallets. That was the question. Any other sorry, I had some in the chat. Sunday. I work Sunday. Sunday planning is always at night. Fair enough. I need to go. That's all good. Awesome. Well, I hope this was helpful. If you have any more questions or yeah, Tina.
I just have
Girl.
something to share because I found something really awesome yesterday. It's from Montana Gold, and it's like a sheet with all the colors. I didn't know.
Did they give it to you for free?
I know it was like 30 euro or something.
Yeah.
But it's so good.
Yeah, but now I want to ask you because you had that problem of Montana not being true to their colors. So how do you feel about having that and trusting them?
Yeah, I don't know. I want to go back to this project and use the vanilla color and check if it's this. I really want to check.
You should. And just say and share with us how different it's gonna be. Can you go back to that place?
Yeah, it's near my place here. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, do it. I'm curious. I'm that curious. Okay, it'll be so interesting. Side by side, yeah, awesome. Yeah, no, thank you for sharing. Yeah, there are swatches. Most brands have them. If they have it online, they will have one that you can buy. Usually, you have to pay for them, just like for the paint ones. But the paint ones are more reliable than the spray paint one. However, I discussed this topic thoroughly with Drapple at the retreat on your behalf. I don't know if we ended up telling you, but he still believes that we probably didn't shake it hard enough. And I'm like, no, I know Tina shook it, and it was more than one can.
Yeah.
But he was like, no, it probably wasn't shaking. They weren't shaking. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't know. He believes Montana Gold is very true to their color. Like, I don't know. But just so you know, guys, they are removing them off the market, not permanently, but I saw the new cans. So they are rebranding the cans of Montana Gold. The writing gold is like 4 times bigger now. But during this exchange, they're removing them off the market temporarily until restocking time. And so in Australia, they are almost out of order everywhere, but not permanently. The new ones are coming. But the only reason I know and I got the new ones is because I ordered them from Soulful. I shouldn't be talking about it. Apparently, I'm not allowed to, but I got them in a roundabout way. But they are going to be sending them for proper sale soon as well. But I got a big batch for my birthday as a gift, so that was really nice. But they have a new branding, so they're not disappearing because I don't know if it was someone on this call or maybe just on my Instagram, but someone was like, Montana Gold is shutting down forever because nobody can afford to buy it. And I'm like, no, that doesn't sound right. And it's not true. They're just rebranding. So yeah, fun fact. Awesome. Any more questions? Any Q&A? No, all good. Today, Tuesday, Wednesday. Tomorrow, I'm responding to a bunch of exercises. Rich, I don't know if so I'm down one assistant. My other assistant is learning everything, but Rachel, I don't know if if you already received it or not, but we have an email going out to you about your website. And Danielle, we have an email going out to you about your last 101 and the next 101. So if they haven't made it to you today, it's because we probably haven't refined them. It's going to be tomorrow, but please be patient with us while we're going through a little internal restructuring, I would call it, yet again, one more time. But yeah. All good. Love you guys. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for listening to my waffles. If any more questions pop to your mind, let me know. If not, yeah, find an event, share it with us so we can all thrive of each other's networking and get inspired and but be the one artist in a room of ideally millionaires. Do it. Do it. Awesome. Bye.